Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Well, it's the pain I can assure you will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time. Obsessed with the issue of violence, mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, chat. Has functionality changed? No, it hasn't. Good. I still remember the procedure. It feels like it's been a while. You know, I was a little rusty on how I changed the screen setup here, but we got away with it. We got away with it. I hope you're well, chat. This is Double Feature Horror Show, episode 191. We are reviewing Suitable Flesh. I specify we are reviewing it for the numerous people who returned to say, why isn't this a pirated movie? What can you do, eh? YouTube's a delight. I hope you're well, folks. We have indeed had a little break, but we're getting back to it. But between holidays and StreamYard absolutely imploding last time we tried to talk about this film, oh dear, our time allotted to Lovecraft Part 3 has been very much eaten up. So we're going to have to pull an evasive maneuver to get the stuff covered that we wanted to. We do not have Murgoot with us tonight on the stream, but we do see him in the chat. It's good to see you, Murgoot. And hello, everyone else, all the regulars. Interesting questions. We've already got a Russ Myers reference, which I did not expect. My goodness, John Goris, you're, what's the phrase? You have eclectic tastes. And John Graham asking the big question, 28 years later, is it any good? TCG, you've been staying clear of the whole thing, haven't you? Spoiler free.
Yeah, I've been completely radio silent from it. I've muted 28 years later on Twitter because as soon as it came out, it just my feed got bombarded with it. Presumably because the spies at X were listening to me or looking at my history and seeing that I had the trailer on loop. If you remember if you remember the
we're all hooked in for that trailer.
Oh, that roped me in big time. But yeah, no, I'm hoping to go and see it on Wednesday. My brother, funny enough, actually, my brother mentioned it the other day, and I was like, "Oh, actually, you know what? I'm planning on taking my boy down there." I'm a bit concerned because it's only a 15 here, which is a bit concerning because the first one I think was an 18. I think the second one, to be fair, was a 15, but I was kind of hoping it would be an 18 because I really wanted it to be gritty, but. I don't know what that means. I'm sure I will find out on Wednesday, and I will report.
You get a lot in a 15 these days.
You can do, yeah. But what I'll probably do is report my findings on Thursday.
All right, fair play. We'll be holding off.
I'll
I found out my local independent is screening it, so I'm going to go for that. I'll be giving it a watch. I'm going to help you stay unspoiled, TCG, and I will just say. I have also seen conflicting reviews. I gave in and read the thread that what's his name, Callum, the former what do you go by, a CAD secretary, the wonderful chap behind the Britannica channel. I read his spoiler-filled breakdown, and well, let's just say I want to support my local cinema.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be a bit doubtful. But you know. People can have very mixed reactions, and that's fine.
You know what? I love Callum, but I'm just going to say I will take his tourism reviews more seriously than his film reviews.
In fairness, the chap famously does not watch movies.
Exactly, he's like Michael Owen. That's a football reference, by the way. Yeah, he's only ever seen 5 films in his life.
I mean, it's on that level, isn't it?
Exactly.
But,
yeah.
So yeah, we can't give any more detailed thoughts on that, John Graham. But if you go watch it, I hope it's good, and we'll have some thoughts on it next week. I'm still hoping for us to do that whole 28 X later season. But I know. Should we do it next month?
Oh, we absolutely have to.
I
We
feel like
absolutely
that's
have
the way to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I've been waiting for bloody ages. I have for this. So
Well,
Yeah.
I'll get in touch with Harry, because Harry of the Lotus Eaters was keen to come on for that. So
brilliant.
I'll
Sorry
see if we
about
can get him on for that. Mr.
Excellent.
GB, 31 months, definitely.
TCG isn't a spice.
Definitely my longest member. Don't clip it.
Look,
TCG isn't a spice girl. Not until Lotus Eaters get some fine true crime content on.
well,
And
they
then it
almost
will
had it.
happen.
They almost had it. They almost had it when they were covering stuff the other day, and I can't remember. But Cole said something that enraged me, but I can't remember what it was. So it couldn't have enraged me that badly.
You know, I've heard there might be some fresh, tasty true crime content coming out. TCG, what's the talk? What's all these rumors?
Well, most of the time, when you ask me if I've got something coming out, I'm like, nah, nothing yet. However, that has changed. I am working on a bloody video for the first time since October 2023. Jesus Christ, that's a long time. Yeah, that is a long time. Yeah, so it wasn't even meant to be a planned break. It just real life got in the way, and I'm basically now sick of that. so we're getting the new videos. We're getting a new video out. I'm working on it as quickly as I can, but I only have about 2, maybe 3 hours a night to work on the videos, just because of work schedule, family life, all that jazz. But the last 2 or 3 nights I've had about 2 or 3 hours sleep. So 2 o'clock in the morning has been my friend. But chat, I have got a little treat for you tonight. I'm going to share with you a little teaser as to what you may expect.
It's delightful news. Here it is. And let's get this playing. Hopefully I don't boomer this. Oh, I boomered it. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
In the early hours of New Year's Day 1981, police at St. Paul, Minnesota, received a disturbing phone call from a man who was pleading with them to send help to Pierce Butler Road, where at Malmberg Manufacturing Company, he claimed that a girl was hurt.
Police station. Yes, please, this is an emergency. Please send a squad to Pierce Butler Road, Malmberg Manufacturing Company, machine shop. Please, there's an ambulance too. There's a girl hurt there.
Can you tell me what happened here?
Just hurry, she's laying on the ground in the back by the railroad tracks, by the airfield. Hurry.
What's the address?
I don't know.
Who are you? Come on.
Police and ambulance services would rush to the scene, where they would soon find the victim lying face down in the snow. She had been stripped of her clothes and beaten over the head with a tire iron, to the extent that part of her brain had been exposed. The violence inflicted on the victim was evident, as buttons from her blouse had been found 50 to 60 feet from where she laid, after being torn off of her. Despite her traumatic injuries, the woman was still alive. She was rushed to a nearby hospital where she underwent emergency surgery, and thankfully, the woman, who was now identified as 20-year-old Karen Potak, would survive the surgery. Investigators learned that Karen was out that night celebrating New Year's Eve with her sisters. At around 1 a.m., they realized that Karen was no longer in the nightclub that they had been partying in. After waiting some time, just in case she returned, they eventually made their way back home. It turned out that about an hour prior, a drunken Karen decided that she would make her way home. The weather that night was unsurprisingly cold and Karen had no coat, but as she only lived a short distance from the nightclub, she opted to make the trip home regardless. While walking home, a car pulled up alongside her. A male driver opened the passenger side door, handed Karen his coat, and offered her a ride home. Tempted by the warmth, Karen agreed and got inside. The driver then pulled away into the night. Unfortunately for Karen, the driver would instead take her to a remote section of Pierce Butler Road, where he would force her out of the car and commence his savage attack. Sadly, because of the trauma to Karen's brain, she was unable to recall any details of her ordeal, and as such, she was unable to provide police with a description of her attacker. Frustratingly, police were also unable to recover any forensic evidence at the crime scene. With no witnesses, no clues, and no possible leads, the case would quickly go cold. And unfortunately, just 5 months later, another young woman would be violently attacked. And unlike Karen Potak, she would be less fortunate.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
Oh, it is good to see again. It is good to see you back in action, TCG.
Oh, it feels good. Feels good. That was his lawyer, Keir Starmer. I reckon it was the guy who phoned. Ooh.
He had some interesting information. That's good. We'll look out for it. And the second it's out,
GP, I could not possibly comment on that.
Mr. Gently Benevolent. Absolutely filthy. Good job.
So
Speaking of absolutely filthy.
So yeah, go if you haven't already, go subscribe to my channel. I'm going to post up. I'm posting updates in the like the posts tab of my channel. So once I have an official date, I will have that out. But after the stream tonight, I'm gonna get to work on getting another one of the chapters done. And I think I'll be about a third of the way through. So I'm aiming for the next sort of 7 to 10 days, basically. But I will keep you guys posted. But go and subscribe. Links are in the description.
Absolutely. Do it. TCG makes quality content. Go follow that link. Subscribe. There is great stuff there. And if you want to support this channel, I'll just remind you that all the usual ways work. You know, super chats are very welcome. The one I most like people to do, though, sign up for a membership. When you do that, you get exclusive content like my commentary for Smile and discussion about Smile 2 that I dropped recently. Lots of other stuff. And you will be able to request a specific thing for me to cover. That's something I like to do for everyone who signs up and supports the channel either here or on Subscribestar. And all the links for that are in the description too. Lovely stuff. There we go. I got my shill in. Adam loves horror. If you're listening, I didn't shy away from it. I shilled. Despite not feeling very English when I do so.
Well done, you.
Yeah, got it done. And this was requested by a wonderful person in the chat, Patrick Batman, Suitable Flesh, a fantastic request. I was going to say this did not take me any convincing. I was looking forward to seeing this, and his request gave us a perfect opportunity. He also wanted us to have a quick look at Hell's Reach. Now, when I said we'd have a look at it for the topic section, my understanding was that Hell's Reach was a 40-minute short. When I checked it out, it was 2 hours 45, which was a bit beyond my capacity. So.
You just forgot about the T at the 2 at the front, didn't you?
I forgot. Yeah, I missed the 2. Common error. I wasn't passing my data fields efficiently. What I saw, I mean, I've got to say, I'm not a 40k person. It's reminiscent of the 40k I was familiar with. I mean, I've passing familiarity with it, but I think you really have to know the lore. But what I saw I was impressed with, like, just the commitment was clearly there. I did see the chap's style evolved over the series until he had done the whole thing. That was kind of impressive. But yes, I'm sorry I can't give it the full attention. It was just 2 hours 45. That's a beast. However, Suitable Flesh, which we will be covering tonight, far more manageable and rather unexpected. This is a very recent one. It's the director's most recent effort. This is Joe Lynch, and he's adapting a slightly rarer Lovecraft story, one that's not been covered very much, even though we have about 6 versions of the Case of Charles Dexter Ward and even more of The Colour Out of Space. Here we go. This is adapted from The Thing on the Doorstep. And before we get into it, I'll just give you a little history. And by that, I mean, I'm just going to read out the introduction you get from Lovecraft expert S.T. Yoshi in the full Lovecraft compendium. So Joshi writes, this story was written somewhat frenetically on August 21st to 24th, 1933. Lovecraft admitted that the literary inspiration of the story was H.B. Drake's novel The Shadowy Thing, 1928, first published in England as The Remedy in 1925, in which a man develops the power of hypnosis to such a degree that he can exchange personalities with his victim. Lovecraft has altered this plot so that the man and his wife exchange personalities, a detail Lovecraft may have derived from Barry Payne's novel An Exchange of Souls, 1911. Yeah, maybe. The character of Asenath Waite appears to be a fusion of Lovecraft's mother and ex-wife, but the character of Edward Darby is not entirely based on Lovecraft himself, instead drawing also upon Lovecraft's views of his friends Clark Ashton Smith and Frank Belknap Long. The story was published in Weird Tales in 1937. So, written 1933, published 1937. As we know, well, you may remember from all the Lovecraft we've covered, it's, how can I say, Lovecraft's publication history a little spotty. It would take him a while to get published, which is why he didn't always have that much money around him. And yes, Maverick, mother and ex-wife, bit of a complex, eh? Many such cases.
Yeah.
Many such cases.
Did he not like his mother then?
Oh no, he was pretty fond of her,
Okay.
as to my memory. But the ex-wife he had a trouble with, because if it's the one I'm thinking of, gosh. How do I phrase this? He sort of did, the classic right-wing meme, like the most racist man you know, and his minority girlfriend.
Yeah.
Some say Lovecraft kicked that trend off.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Bless her. She was a modernizing sort. If it's the one I'm thinking of, and I forgive me if I'm confusing multiple wives, but she wanted to be out and productive. She was Jewish. She wanted to move to the big city. She ran a business to sort of support him as a committed but not entirely successful artist.
I was going to say, did they get divorced because she was sick of the pet names that he gave her?
I must not comment. I'm afraid. Oh, Murgoot, thank you
Murgoot. Nice one.
Signing up as a member. I gathered I was told by YouTube I could gift them, but I couldn't actually find that functionality. So cheers for signing up. Wait, does that mean you're requesting something?
Uh-oh.
Let us know. Let us know. Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much, Murgoot. So I wanted to pay particular attention to that date. When was it published? That's what I was interested in. Because I needed to know, was this published before or after another Lovecraft story? Do you know the one I'm thinking of, TCG?
The color of what was it called? Color of Space? No, oh my god, what was it called?
Case of Charles Dexter Ward.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, I was thinking, it's a we've got a tale where, I mean, this doesn't exactly narrow it down in the Lovecraft canon, because this is a bit of a device at the time, that your story is told through multiple layers of abstraction. But the case of a body hopping entity, someone not being who they think they are, who you think they would be, etc. Encountering some extremely revealing evidence and arcane scene, which then burns down before you can go next time. that sort of thing. Basically, lots of stuff in common with Charles Dexter Ward. So I kind of worried, is he... Oh, sorry, not worried. I wondered, is this sort of a dry run for Charles Dexter Ward? And
Right.
I mean, I think I'm right. I think I'm right with it.
Yeah. So this was like the precursor, you mean?
Well, it feels like it. I mean,
Yeah.
artists, I'm not saying you ripped it off or anything. I think artists tend to be hooked on particular ideas, or the
Yeah.
ones I like are, and they'll tend to circle around the idea and attack it from a few angles.
Gotcha.
You know, you often see them trying to do that, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And I think this was maybe like a first run at that idea of, I really like the idea of who is in that body. Can I trust who I'm talking to?
Yeah.
And he thought, you know, obviously that's a really rich vein of storytelling. And then when he comes to write his only novel, which is Charles Dexter Ward, you know, it's the only time he went that long, then I think he just thought, I can do a lot more with this.
Yeah, definitely.
And he did. He really sort of filled out those ideas.
Mm.
So not only Murgoot, thank you very much, but also Patrick Batman, the wonderful chap who suggested this stream, sending in £5, saying, I may have difficulty joining you on Thursdays because of changed circumstances. So it's been fun hanging out. I'll try and drop by when I can. Don't worry, man. You're always welcome. And yeah, real life will mess us up, and won't it? Won't it, TCG? Just a bit.
Oh, just a tiny bit, But like I said in the chat, mate, I hope those changes are positive ones for you, mate. Because yeah,
very much so. I'll just hope it is good news, and a sort of respectful nod of the head if it's not. And anyway, thanks again for the £5, very much appreciated. And Mr. Gently Benevolent, resident troublemaker and longest member on the channel,
phrasing,
gifted a membership. So it's proving it works. The thing I was told about was YouTube said that as a channel creator, we could just give memberships for free. In like you had like 5 you could give every month or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I got that email and then I looked for it and I couldn't do it.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
I also can't receive gifted memberships, which is a bit annoying. So like I can't personally on this account receive them, which is a bit odd.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. So I can't get them on this account, but if I go to like one of my personal ones, then that's fine. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I don't mind you having other members, PH. I'll always be your... Yeah.
Deeply subversive. Deeply subversive. All right. So this is a less adapted story, still something that provided great fruitful inspiration for Lovecraft. And this film is a bit of a collaboration between some of the people who are most known for bringing his work to the screen. I don't know if you remember, because it's been a while, TCG, but there was a whole spate in the sort of mid-80s to early 90s, sorry, mid-90s even, of a couple of really dedicated people trying to get that Lovecraftian horror out there. So the big names are Stuart Gordon, Brian Yuzna, from stuff like Reanimator, From Beyond. My brain is clicking over here. Necronomicon in 1994. Little scene, but very fun. And a few of those wonderful people are back. So there's Dennis, I've got to get that name right, Powley, who I had sort of slipped my notice. But he was a screenwriter on Reanimator, on From Beyond.
Okay.
And even an adaptation of Poe called Pit and the Pendulum, who I very much remember. It's one of those ones I really remember seeing the VHS of. That was a 1991 one.
Oh, nice.
He also did the screenwriting for one of the first films we ever talked about on this channel, Body Snatchers from 1993.
What? No way.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah, he had a bit of a break basically since then. So about 2001, he did a late Stuart Gordon adaptation of Dagon, which is one of the classic short Lovecraft stories.
Okay.
And then he has a break for like 22 years until this film.
Oh, doesn't make me feel as bad now that I took a nearly 2-year break.
No, exactly. He's just matured. I've got the feeling because the director Joe Lynch, he has from just looking at his work, it has a feel to me of working director.
Okay.
Like you take the jobs you get.
Yeah.
Which is no shade. Like
Not
the
at all.
majority of people in Hollywood, you got to take the work you get, right?
I mean, if anything, it's kind of reminiscent of the old, like of the time before, where you'd have actors, directors just consistently working on projects. Nowadays, it's almost like as soon as you get like too big, you kind of revert to almost like a part-time role.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
They get very selective.
Yeah. And I think it's because they can afford to be, whereas maybe sort of earlier on in filmmaking, that wasn't quite a privilege that many people had.
No, definitely not. It's sort of how can I say, you've got the early contract system where you are hired on a contract basis and you are told by the studio what you will be in. If you remember when we did the Vincent Price stuff,
yeah, that's
a lot
kind
of
of what I'm
stuff
thinking of.
You're in this now you're in this.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. Yeah, because I mean, Vincent Price, didn't he used to pump films out?
Yeah, that's what his contract was like. Just you're in for this many per year, in you go. And if they think you don't really get the choice, so that's how you end up quite typecast, really.
100%, yeah.
And that's how he ended up in. Now, can I get the title right? Dr. Goldberg and the Bikini Machine, if you remember that.
I do remember that.
Probably wouldn't be his first choice, if we're honest.
No.
But he was under contract, so he had to do it.
Yeah.
So, out of Accenture, a lot of people, who don't have the big names, even outside of the contract system, they've got to work. As Patrick has said, Joe Lynch gotta eat.
Absolutely.
True.
Absolutely.
True. So, having done some, consistent work, like he's just been working, he's been getting the films out every couple of years. It's pretty good. I have the feeling that this is one where he got a bit more choice about it.
Okay.
Just because it's such a... I mean, he executive produces it, and, he'd done that a few times before, but I get the feeling it's a little bit more of a passion project, which is why he goes to the effort of, bringing in... I guess really the heroes of putting Lovecraft on screen, like not just Dennis Paoli, the screenwriter, but Barbara Crampton, who is like one of the names that comes up all the time, alongside Jeffrey Coombs. It's Barbara Crampton is the Lovecraft girl from Reanimator, from Beyond, and now having her back in this, you can see her just in the background there. I should probably switch us over so we get our title screen. And which I enjoyed very much. It's the lurid hint.
That is a very Shudder-esque opening title scene, isn't it?
Oh yes. Yeah, I mean, this is where I came across it on Shudder, and it is yes. I mean, they didn't make it, but they acquired the rights to it.
Gotcha.
Bless them, but it is perfect for them. Kind of low budget, but creative.
What was the budget on this, just out of interest? Because I was quite... Because when I saw that Heather Graham was in it, I mean, I don't know how sort of prominent she is sort of in recent years of
little.
filmmaking,
I'll
but
have a
I
look
thought
for you.
I did think that was quite a coup from the filmmakers, or from the people
Oh,
casting.
apparently, $2 million.
Is that it?
Sounds about right. I mean,
Wow.
take that with a pinch of flesh, basically.
Bit of suitable flesh, a pinch of suitable flesh.
I mean, it makes sense to me because I wouldn't say it looks cheap, but it has a few of the hallmarks of cheapness,
Yeah, not many locations.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, there's a few locations. There isn't really a big cast. Like the runtime of this film's quite modest as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's lovely. Well, we both had a little gripe about the runtime, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But yeah, exactly as you say, it's mostly a couple of locations. This one, her office, very obviously a set, because they mostly, when they do anything outside the window, it's very obviously green screened in. So
yeah,
that's one of the things that gives it away. But otherwise, they just sort of shoot on location, use a fair amount of digital footage. In fact, here's your green screen itis. There.
Yes.
There's a family
Bit
show,
of Britisher.
TCG.
Bit of Britisher.
Yeah.
I'm imagining we're going to see God, I can't talk tonight. I imagine we're going to see him quite a bit tonight.
I know. I've been very restrained with him. Also, it was just
lame.
Also, so things like this. This set looks gorgeous. This is the basement set, but I would imagine this is also her office, just redressed.
Okay.
I've hiked the lumens up a bit on it so you can see more. But I'd be very surprised if that wasn't just, the same office set, but they've just dropped the lighting down very, very low,
right,
giving it that atmospheric focus, piled stuff in the background. It was very budget friendly but effective. So yeah, good choices. It's definitely low budget, but it uses its money very wisely.
Patrick, this film's drinking game. Take a drink every time Heather Graham gets it up the moon bag, mate. Do you know what? I saw as I was watching this, I sarcastically messaged a Horrorshow and Murgoot, and I was like, "It's nice to see Heather Graham in a film that isn't sexualizing her for once." I don't think I've ever seen her get moonbag so much. Oh, moonbog. I was saying moonbag, moonbog.
Oh dear. All right, thank you, Patrick. That's where that's from. But yeah, I mean, I saw her described as very game in a few of the reviews, and it's like, yeah, that's a good description.
Yeah, she definitely looked it.
Oh yeah, not. Was it on the game? On the game is what I meant. Yeah. Yeah. In these goings down, absolutely correct. You shoot around your locations. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, they made very good use of that. So it didn't look bad. I would not be surprised in the least if a couple of the houses were literally just people's houses. Just
yeah. That wouldn't surprise me at all. They're quite and again, that's not something that's unusual or unheard of. And I'll give a blatant example. I don't know if you guys know about Gavin and Stacey, the TV show, like BBC. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. But the street, so they use locations. They use real life locations, in particular, like the houses and places like that are like real houses that they've just basically borrowed from the homeowners. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were, because I thought that the house that Heather Graham's character, I think it's Dr. Elizabeth Darby, I think it was. I thought that was a set. It looked like a set, or it felt like a set, like in the inside. But yeah, that's completely not unusual for for film producers and whatnot to actually just go, yeah, can we borrow your ass for a bit, mate?
Standard.
Yeah.
Very standard. People are also appreciating Barbara Crampton aging very well.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
She looks all right.
Yeah, I've just been thinking about that in general, actually. How people just don't seem to be aging as quickly as like they used to.
No. I mean, they're holding up. Heather Graham,
Yeah.
absolutely holding up. I mean, I haven't done the mathematics, but Patrick Bateman appears to be saying that Heather Graham was 55 for this.
Oh, right. Fact check.
Fact check. Should we do a quick look up?
Yeah.
It could be. I mean,
she is actually 55.
Boogie Nights was
she's
1998, remember?
Bloody hell.
You a fan of Boogie Nights?
I haven't seen Boogie Nights, but I watched God, what's it called? It's got Steve Martin in it, Eddie Murphy.
Bowfinger,
that's it.
Was she in that?
She was in that, yeah. Gosh, great.
What do you know?
Yeah.
Well, highly recommend Boogie Nights. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson film, and absolutely brilliant. I really liked it.
Yeah, I know. I honestly thought she was in her 40s.
No, 55.
That's
what can you
crazy?
Yeah.
So Bowfinger was what, 98? I think it was 98, 99. So she would have already been nearly 30 when that film came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the Orphan Blood Maverick. I agree with you.
It's the only explanation, guys.
Yep.
Look, it can't all be filters.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of hinting at the other element that's thrown into this. This is a Lovecraft adaptation. Lovecraft stories are short, so the films do have to get a bit creative with them. So what do you add into the thing on the doorstep to get your 90-minute runtime? Well, you add in Stacy's mom.
Yeah.
It's swap out the Cthulhu for some cougars, and
you could
you're
go
probably good enough.
Heather Graham, if you ever come across this stream, let me just tell you here and now, you've got it going on still.
Yes. Oh,
bravo.
So, yeah,
Bravo.
It indeed. Well done for being extremely well. Game is the best way of describing it. For throwing yourself into the role, being unashamed, and continuing the long career pattern of being gleeful to get nud at even the slightest suggestion.
Right.
Sorry, I've in light of your comment, TCG, I have had to update that name for you.
That Finch guy, thank you.
Oh, you see, I almost did that Stifler guy, and then I just remembered, wait, no, technically. Anyway.
Right, let me log in, because Murgoot keeps talking about the
Shudder reviews.
Yeah.
Have a look at those.
I'm going to try. Let's see if I remember.
While you're doing that, TCG, I suppose without Murgoot here to keep us in line on the stream, we've gone all over the place. I haven't even told people what this is about if they haven't seen the movie.
You did a pint of Guinness, yeah. Why don't, right, yeah, you did.
I'll do that. You have a little look around. Okay, right. So we open up with a bit of a classic sort of leap forward, a flash forward, with this lovely shot here where you're looking up from the inside of a body bag. It's a promising start. I love this. And you're seeing, oh gosh, why can't I get any character's name correct? We're looking at Barbara Crampton as Dr. Daniela Upton, who is I believe, gender-flipped version of a character in the story, who goes to introduce us to Heather Graham. And it's a very sort of Jennifer's body opening, if you will. Heather Graham in the Amanda Seyfried role. She has been locked up, falling from her formerly lofty, respectable position as a horny psychologist, helping people, all's fine, until she meets this guy, Asa. So we're set up with her locked up in an asylum. What's going on? What's happened? Then we're back to the start of the story, which is seeing her in her role as a horny counselor. She meets this guy, Asa, and he's in a bit of a desperate panic state, coming in, needing her help. And while she tries to talk to him to calm him down, he undergoes something of like a seizure, a transformation, and suddenly he's acting like a completely different person. And while you're wondering what the heck, what in the Charles Dexter ward is going on, he's off. And our protagonist, oh God, I literally just looked up the name a second ago.
Elizabeth
Darby. It doesn't stick in my head, TCG. Darby is sort of focused on this. She's she can't get him out of his head. She goes home to her husband Eddie, and she can't get this guy over the head. She's having weird dreams. What did he mean when he said he thinks his dad is trying to take him over? Well, it's exactly what you're thinking. She receives this alarmed call. She goes to his house, and it's the classic Lovecraft setup of you're going to get this one chance to see inside the occult in an unreliable fashion, very panic fashion, before it all burns down, before you can get anyone else involved to verify it. Classic Lovecraft move. She finds Asa's father. He's an extremely grumpy old man who isn't taking any guff from her. And Asa comes back in, terrified like before. And I'm not going to do all the twists and turns, but in short, Asa was telling the truth. With a few incantations, his father is able to take over his body, and if he does it 3 times, then it becomes permanent. Well, things get heated. Asa is unable to stop the switch. It happens. He is left permanently in his father's body. His father takes over his young body, thereby gaining a bit of mortality, and his father swiftly dispatches him in an extremely memorable scene where you just feel that everyone was having a heck of a lot of fun.
Except for the young man in the old man's body.
True. But the old man in the young man's body later gets to have a bit of fun in another body. Very swiftly, there's a sexual dynamic between him and Elizabeth that heats up. She cannot resist his dynamism. He is negging her extremely effectively. In just a few exchanges, he goes from negging to pegging, and then, whilst they're mid-coitus on his desk, he drops a quick incantation, and they body swap. This was possibly done just so they can get the obvious but very satisfying joke out, and I apologize for my language here. Next time someone tells you to go fuck yourself, you can say, done that.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to.
Twice. Yeah.
They had to. Elizabeth is obviously very panicked by what's going on. It's a great scene with sort of the actors swapping around doing multiple characters. It's very good fun. Their heated sexual relationship continues. And Elizabeth is sort of, ends up desperate on her last chance to avoid being permanently taken over. She brings in support from her. Oh, sorry, I'm getting this. She brings in support from her friend, Daniela Upton. Barbara Crampton is unable to convince her when she finds Elizabeth in Ace's body down in the basement. It's all very Comet Pizza here. And she realizes that she has to... Sorry, couldn't resist it. She realizes she's only got one chance. She's got to off him quickly, so she lures him to the office, manages to stab him in the head, chuck him out the window, and then we just get this ridiculous, very fun sequence of
oh yeah,
her just smushing him into paste.
And the little cat, like the rear view camera.
I
dashboard.
love this
Yeah.
so much. This
I
was
thought-
so creative.
Yeah.
This was great fun. I mean, just look, they had almost no money, but they managed to make this incredibly memorable and fun.
Yeah, I like this. I did like this. I thought it was quite clever because I wasn't even paying when I watched it. I wasn't even. I think it was the second time she reversed into him. I was like, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. It's on. There's a screen.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Hey, if you're going to modernize the story, this gives you an excellent opportunity. Yep. So we now find out how we get the sort of mangled, horrific body that everyone is staring at the very interesting cold open. And then unfortunately that's where it all goes a bit kooky.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately at the time that they bring the body back to the morgue, unfortunately there's still, I think there were only like 82 minutes in or something.
I think so. Yeah, it dragged. The pacing up until this point I thought was absolutely fine.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was, and we've said before, if your story is told in 82 minutes, you know, you can clock off early, you know.
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely.
We reward productivity.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, I don't know, maybe they were told you need to get that, you need to get to feature length. And so in the last few minutes, there's a lot of hijinks, a lot of extra body swapping between, well, this is hard to keep track of, but Ace's dad in Elizabeth's body, swapping with Daniela Upton, Elizabeth being kicked out to Ace's now very mangled body, a security guard making the most of his lines, gets involved. It's all over the place, very back and forth, and unfortunately going exactly where you expect it to.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's those last 10 minutes where they sort of milked it but didn't really add anything. It just sort of upped the crazy factor.
Yeah, they did that they upped it and then they kept it bloody predictable, and they still gave you a predictable ending at the end. I will say the ending of this film did spoil it a little bit for me. Like, I'm not necessarily against the idea of the bad guy winning, but it has to be somewhat, it has to be satisfying, and it has to be, I don't want to say believable, but it kind of has to be done in a way that makes you think that there is no way that the good guys could do it and could pull through. And it didn't feel like the film achieved that for me. Not only the fact that, like you say, they were prattling about with all the bodies, but like the soul swapping or whatever. It did kind of lose it for me a little bit at that point. But I've been looking through some of the. She looks like she just saw Ironheart. Brilliant. I did have a look through the comments. I don't think I'm seeing the same feedback, the same reviews as Murgoot, because he seems to be having a whale of a time. But I did pull some out. So
I've got a couple up here. Yeah, I'd see the ones. Do you want to read those beauties out?
Yeah. So the first one was, "This was a great movie, even better than I expected. Oh, girl was sexy as hell." So all in all, five skulls. And then the other one
What's the skull to burger exchange ratio? I need to know.
Well, this they must have given us a 12 burgers because 5 is the maximum skulls they can give
Oh
on Shudder, I
yeah,
believe.
that's
So
the Shudder rating, isn't it?
this
Yeah.
is the Shudder rating, yeah. So they must have gone full 12 burgers with that one. Shame on everyone for kink shaming the demon, the true victim of this story, and a feminist icon. Brilliant.
Many
The
such
real
cases.
many such cases indeed.
What
Yeah.
do they mean by this?
I think what this film was trying to say was trans right to human rights.
Oh, really?
The real
Really?
villain of this story was the husband. Did you see how bad he was laying pipe? So wooden. Dr. Skulls for contracting vertigo from that camera work at the end. Lastly, and I agree with this wholeheartedly, one tit was unsatisfactory.
Oh no, that's harsh. That's harsh.
No, they come in pairs, proper horror show. They come in pairs.
Oh,
You know, that's like buying one shoe.
I wasn't expecting her to bop them out at all, to be honest. So I was quite happy, you know.
Which again, I thought she was in her 40s. You know, that helped. You know, the gravitational pull after 55 years. I would have expected to see more knee slapping, but hey, impressive. Good work. Wow, I love this movie. So complex and had so much story. Could have been more balls to the wall. If the Lifetime channel tried to make a horror
she had
movie,
hit the wall, so you know.
yeah, on several occasions. If the Lifetime channel tried to make a horror movie, it would be something like this. 100% agree.
Mhm.
My wife and my daughter like to watch Channel 5 movies. They're pretty much like Hallmark movies. Yeah, this wouldn't look out of place. And then lastly, yeah, Cougar's dream movie, no eggs. Yeah, Cougar's dream movie. So yeah.
Yeah. Good cougar action. It is cougar wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
You know what? There is a bit of form for this. I mean, let's not pretend like Reanimator didn't introduce a heavy sexual element to the Lovecraft story. From Beyond went even further.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some filthy stuff in From Beyond. They're all very up for it, you know. This got to take it even further, and I don't know, man. I liked it. It didn't feel like a bad angle for me. I thought this idea of, because there's, you know, if you're doing a body swap, there's already the idea of you being in someone else's body, right? So I mean, like, the jump to taking a sexual element to it is a very short jump to take. And this idea of like the demon having, and I don't know about you, TC, I'm just assuming that the weird little octopus demon that they saw in the basement is the original thing, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 'Cause, I mean, it's quite obvious. It's made clear at the very beginning of the film that this isn't Ace's dad, not really, you know. And then yeah, sort of they expand on that a little bit later on in the film. So this is obviously something that's been around for hundreds of years. And I also find it quite interesting as well, like that he almost forgets his own origin because he's been around for that long, which kind of is consistent with, because I've seen videos where they talk about, like, you know, the amount of storage that technically the human brain can hold, and you know, our bodies just will never feel that in a lifetime, and our bodies obviously, you know, don't have, you know, we don't live long enough. But if we were hypothetically to live long enough, you know, I think it's only like a few hundred years that you could store, and then essentially you would start almost like overwriting memory. So it did interest me, that little concept. I mean, I don't, obviously we never know how true that is, but it would be quite interesting to if there was ever a scenario where someone would actually forget their birth name because they'd been around for long enough. I don't know. I'm rambling, but I know what I mean.
I get you. I mean, it's in that scenario where this thing is possibly going through hundreds of bodies. Make your own Bonnie Blue joke there. Then over the course of years, yeah, you might forget. Actually, you know what? I'll make a very unexpected reference.
You can, sorry to interrupt, you can only make a Bonnie Blue joke if he transferred 1,057 times in one day.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, just like mathematically, is she like skiing at the same time? And I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
It worked out to be like one every like 45 seconds or something like that. I don't, why am I even talking about this?
Gosh,
actually disgusts me. But
Panjit, stay strong, man. Listen, few tips. When you're showering off after the football game, if the woman comes in saying she needs to check the pipes are working, run. She is not a janitor. Okay. Little tip for you there. Also, if she comes up with pizza and she says there's anything extra on it, you got to go. Definite big warning sign. There you go.
Yes, especially if she's rocking pineapple pizza. If she's got tuna on her pizza, she might actually be genuine and sincere and not a threat. But definitely, if it's pineapple, you need to run. You need to run as quickly as you can.
Stay strong, Pandajit. Stay strong.
Yeah. Rule number one: never trust a woman with pineapple pizza. Rule number two: definitely trust a woman with tuna on pizza.
So, so this idea of sorry, I was going to make a really weird reference to you. I don't think I'm spoiling this movie because it's just completely conversational, but there's a great little film called The Man from Earth, which very much centers around the story of a guy. The guy's basically immortal. Just doesn't die. And he talks kind of about what you were talking about, TCG. It's entirely conversation. It's like, it's just basically people talking in a house, but it's fascinating. And he's just talking about, I've been through many lives, and, you know, after a few hundred years, you do forget some pretty major things, you know, it just happens. Like, if this thing's swapping bodies all the time, and if it is originally in a form that doesn't exactly neatly map to human male or female, why wouldn't it get confused? Like, for it not minding, I thought, and just enjoying the sensations of a different body made lots of sense to me. But most of all, how delighted were you that it wasn't played for some very like 2020 political messaging?
Yeah, so true. That's so true.
You know, you just start thinking like, oh, go on, get your points in. Yeah. Horrific Cthulhu demon says trans rights. Go on. No, they didn't go near it.
No, they didn't
care. It was
they didn't.
Just good fun.
Yeah. Chat question. Would you swap into Heather Graham's body?
Ooh.
There you go.
Come on, chat. Go on. We want to hear.
And then the second question is, what would you do?
No, this is a family-friendly channel, of course. Do bear that in mind. How did I know Murgoot would have seen that movie? I don't know anyone else who's seen that movie. The Man.
I think Murgoot might actually be immortal because I swear to God, he has seen everything.
Yeah. Gosh, where was I going to go with that? Where was I going to go with that point about the body swapping, about the sexual element? The sexual element that I thought added a really interesting sort of... I just had a really great energy in this film. I liked the idea that she was driven by this kind of compulsion to sort of... this compulsion she couldn't quite explain. And that attraction, it added a really good dangerous element to it. Murgoot's thinking of the Austin Powers days for Heather Graham.
Oh yeah, of course she was in that, wasn't she? I need to get my son to watch that. He's been asking about Austin Powers over the last few weeks.
It's time.
And I have the TCG getting personal. I feel like under the microscope here. Just answer the damn question.
We need to know. You can confess. It's all good. I don't know, just good energy with the sexual thing. Added great tension, you know, the fact that she might wreck a marriage as well. I liked
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. That's the point. Yeah, she's married. Chat. We didn't. I don't know if we mentioned that before.
Yeah, this aspect of just like the demon being a relentless horn dog, I thought was fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
I
for
know
her
why.
specifically. For her specifically, yes.
Well,
that would be
once
weird.
it was in the demon, like it was lusting up on her husband. It was lusting up on that Mexican policewoman. You know.
That's right. Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say. This might sound a bit weird. Did I ever get you to watch Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde?
Is that the one with Eddie Izzard?
God, no.
No.
No, I'd never do that to you, TCG. Come
on. No and no.
All right. So that is that is a Hammer horror, where you know it's Dr. Jekyll, but when he takes the potion, he becomes a really hot woman. I forget who plays her. Why can't I remember? Chat, come on, you know, Martine Beswick, I think. Gorgeous.
Martine Beswick, yes.
Yes, she was Bond girl. Right.
Okay.
So, like, there's that. There's Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, which is one Hammer gender swapping film. There's another one, Frankenstein Created Woman, where a dead chap is put into his dead lover's body. Right. Now, in both of those films, once you've had the gender swap and there's a chap in a woman's body, immediately they start going for dudes.
Really?
Immediately. The first thing they want to do in their plan is just go to the sausage shop and get a few links. Instantly, both of them. And it's like, in neither of those films, it was just one of those moments where I thought, did the screenwriter sit down for a minute and think, well, hang on. What's that saying about the character? Like, was he into that?
Yeah.
Was he repressing something? But why is his immediate response to get ploughed? You know what I mean? Yeah. Patrick Bateman's right. You know, think about it. That's a response. You'd be looking at Sarah on, wouldn't you? You'd be going in, getting your album. I will type that in. But anyone, it's hard to say. It's if you read it, you get it. But I can't say the band's name. But or your other favorite lesbian sapphic band of your choice. That would be mine, really. You'd be popping those on, and you'd be getting a nice lumberjack shirt, wouldn't you? But in both these films, like the newly and femme chap is just immediately going for chaps, and it always seemed a bit weird, like a bit of an odd projection of the screenwriter. Whereas this one, that dynamic worked, you know, because the creature doesn't care. It's just got this sort of voracious appetite.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's the first film that has done that plot without it sort of not having that sort of jarring impact.
Right.
Sorry,
okay.
I don't know if you wanted that little diversion.
No, but it's interesting because now, chat, I have a third question. Fellas, is it gay if you bone not Heather Graham, if you bone Dr. Elizabeth Darby while Asa is controlling her?
Oh, there is one for the ages. I mean, they hinted at that a bit, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like
So that means her husband's gay. There you go. And he was like, damn, that was great. Let's do it again after the fact, after she transferred back.
Goodness me. I'm disturbed, Murgoot. Like, this is, you had those names to hand very quickly.
That's brilliant. So I mean, this guy knows everything. I bet he went all the bloody
cultured dude.
Well. Yeah. It's not gay, but it ain't straight either.
I'm just, in Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, it's like literally he's banging his workmate.
Oh,
You know,
why? No. They got it all wrong. No.
he's been working in the lab next to the guy for
Yeah.
years. The first chance he gets,
It's
he's like,
French.
"Let me get that conical flask out." You know,
Yeah.
it was extremely French in these goings down.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, no, that's not what I do. That's not what I do.
Not first.
No, yeah, no, not first. Not second, third, fourth, or fifth, or sixth, seventh.
Be a while till you got down to that on the bucket list.
I don't think it's anywhere on the bucket list, to tell you the truth.
Fair play, fair play. You know, I feel like I should act now that we've sort of like discussed the relentless horniness of this film, and it really is relentless. There were some nice, more subtle touches in this. For instance, I really liked in The Office, like little details that suggested Dr. Darby is a bit more open to weirder stuff. Like she might be more open to considering that there is something supernatural going on. You know, like
I think that was driven by the fact that she saw him as a potential cash cow, rather than being open to any sort of paranormal activity. Because she says to her husband after they first meet, you know, that she could potentially, like, you know, this guy's like a case study. She could write, I can't remember the exact wording, but essentially it boiled down to, I can make books on him, I could do speeches, things like, you know, this is like perfect for my career. So I think she saw him as more of an opportunity rather than somebody that she could, well, maybe she did want to help him, but but there was definitely a selfish element to it, and I think she would have perhaps been more inclined to indulge in those the psychosis of him. Yeah, it pretty much was Patrick. Yeah, she was pretty much like, yeah, we're gonna make money off this guy. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. She absolutely had a career motive. That I noticed things like just in the background of her office. They've just got a few things to help. You know, she's open like the palmistry model there, so a little bit of, possibly that's reflexology, possibly it's Chinese traditional medicine. They've got the old phrenology skull there. I have that skull actually. And she's got this artwork just over on the right. Hopefully everyone can see my cursor. That was a nice touch because it's just over where the patients lay down on the couch.
Okay.
And it's positioned in shots above their head. And it's this kind of scrambled structure, like it kind of looks like a complete disorganized set of links, like it's a representation of their slightly disordered brains. And I thought, oh, that's a really nice touch. Very good.
Yeah,
Very good filmmakers.
Patrick is on fire. DFS showroom. That's how they saved money.
Can we?
But then, like, I'm not being funny,
yeah.
But to be fair, she is a woman, so she's probably into astrology as well.
Many such cases.
Yeah.
Many such cases. Yeah. So nice touch. How do you think it delivered on the actual scares, TCG?
It won't scare any.
Nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
No. Name one bit that was scary.
I'm struggling, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah,
I had an extremely good time, but I don't feel this was ever trying to shake me up.
No, definitely not. I think this was more, pardon the pun, but a mind fudge of a film. Like, that's what I got from it.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say, and we shouldn't be surprised from the creators. You know, remember, we do have the same screenwriter as Reanimator and From Beyond here. Excuse me. this is someone who enjoys horror, but does it with a lot of irony. It's written for an extremely, how can I say, like horror in crowd.
Right.
People who enjoy horror but don't actually need to be affected by it and are happy with films which play with the irony. I was actually I was reading an essay. I think the author is John Crane in Psychoanalytical Theory and Horror, or Horror Films and Psychoanalytics. I can't remember. It's a collation by Stephen Schneider, and it's an essay called "The Problem of Irony in Horror," and talking about how horror, almost uniquely as a genre, is perfectly able to not take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Like, alongside playing it completely straight, it can also douse it in irony in the same series, in the same film, and the audience is extremely comfortable with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And this film seems like a very good example of that. It's engaging, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because when you watch a horror film, it's something which you as the viewer know is already far removed from reality, especially when it comes to things like supernatural sort of style horror films. So of course you can absolutely. Hatchet springs to mind.
Yes. Oh, Hatchet completely is.
Yeah.
A great example of being made for.
I mean,
I don't know how to say this without sounding like a Hoxton wanker, but it's like there are bits which are so deliberately bad that you have to know they are being done deliberately badly with a sort of nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Exactly.
It's there for you if you get the joke, like kind of like pantomime. All those "he's behind you," like we're kind of there doing that with a film.
Yeah.
Oh man, have you watched anything? I've only watched the first one. Have you gone beyond that on that series? Because I've been tempted.
Hatchet. Have I seen any more of them? I might have seen the second one, maybe. But how many? Isn't there like 4?
Oh yeah, there are 4. So I think 3 got the most attention,
right?
And then 4 was, I think, a slight reboot. Like it was just called Hatchet 4 Crowley. I could be wrong.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I feel like I might have seen the second one. See, this is the great thing about my brain. I talk about 300 years before you start forgetting things. I'll go 300 seconds, and I'm like, my wife is proper jealous of this because she'll watch like a TV show, sitcom, whatever, and like we've been together for 20 years, and she'll remember lines from like when she was a kid. And she'll still be able to like reel them off, like Red Dwarf. Like she can remember entirely. And like I've watched I've watched all of Red Dwarf, but I couldn't tell you what the bloody hell happens in like 2/3 of the episodes. So yeah.
Oh bless her. Yeah, I don't have that memory either.
Yeah, I love her mind. It's amazing. She helps me. She's like my she's not just my wife, but she's also my notebook.
Oh. Bet she remembers everyone's birthdays as well.
She remembers everyone's.
That's a real handy thing.
She remembers them, but she also reminds me as well.
That's the bonus. In terms of like the playing it fun for horror, so you know, when they've got the body swapping concept and they, added to the sexual element, the fact that it gave them some great comedic opportunities, they just took it. But they also, it gives you a hint of the kind of way they're approaching the horror. But there was a really nice moment with this, and this might be proving your point, DCG, because I'm not sure I remember the line exactly. But just after the dad, although as we know it's not really the dad, we think it's this weird demon entity, has swapped into Ace's body permanently, and Ace just makes sure it won't be undone, just cuts the head off. This is so ridiculously over the top, and then he just looks, I think he looks basically at the camera and says, "Too much."
Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh, I kind of loved it for that. Just fully embracing how over the top they've gone with it.
So right, I've just googled like suitable flesh quotes, and this is some of the stuff that the AI has brought up, and like it completely speaks to the irony. I had a man's desire to satisfy myself, to dominate. Now I'm not so sure. That means I wasn't born a woman. It's all semantics anyway. Demon octopus, awesome. Ew. Then I must have really wanted to f my old man. Oh yeah, that's right. Because as far as Elizabeth knows, like that's how you transfer. Ew.
I think it does open some very awkward questions.
Yeah. So should I call? So I should call the police and tell them what? That a young male patient you slept with murdered the reanimated corpse of his father. That came from Barbara Crampton's character.
She was having a lot of good fun in this. She really was. Oh, bless.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just great to see in this. I thought. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no. Again, this felt like a film. To be fair, right? This film did feel like the cast were having a good time, and I think that's the thing with these. Again, I sort of say it with horror. I think I tend to be of the opinion that people tend to enjoy themselves working on these kinds of films more than gritty dramas and all this stuff, because you can just be so out there and do whatever. Like, sure, some people might not like the makeup process, especially if they have to, because depending on the role, they have to dress up as some sort of monster or something. It could take bloody hours in the makeup room, and that might be a bit of a slog. But in a film like this, they clearly enjoyed it, I think.
Oh, they did. They got to stretch it. I mean, I think Heather Graham will particularly enjoy just that she got to play the timid character, then the extremely confident, voracious character. Like, she gets to do about 3 different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phrasing.
Oh, dear. I will say, though, I don't know if you felt this, but the first time she switches over, I will say I felt that was where she was maybe a bit off. Like it seemed a bit overdone, a bit awkward. Just in this very first scene here, I saved the screen cap because, well, one, I really like the Dutch angle.
Yeah.
But I think just the first time when she's trying to play a character that she's thinking of as male, and I just think she did it. It didn't quite work for me. It was a bit much, but later she nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been more convincing if she kneeled down and went, "Hey, mate, you watched the football last week? We'll go for a beer. We'll drive some cars. That's what men do, innit?"
I mean, she wasn't far off that. Like, it's weird because later she does not have this problem. I don't have the screen cap of it, but there's a really funny moment when she's locked in the cell and you've got the 2 big tough orderlies. One of them is played by the director, by the way. And you kind of know exactly what's going to happen. Like,
yeah,
this thing which will body hop and will basically Lily Phillips its way around.
Oh, God, we are running through these OF actress names, aren't we?
Well, in fairness, I've exhausted my knowledge of them.
To be fair, that's all I know.
Yeah. Good defense, TCG. Good defense.
As my defense, I'm sticking with it. You can't prove it. You can't prove.
It's Heather Graham in a scanty gown with those 2 orderlies, one of whom has got an excellent porn star mustache. And it's like you basically don't even need the dialogue, but when she sort of offers them a service that might persuade them.
Yeah.
I love that moment where the guys looked at each other.
Look at each other, yeah.
We're going for this.
Yeah.
Perfectly judged. Oh, I mean,
I'm down if you're down. No, I'm not.
yeah. Or, I mean, let's be honest, the only thing they'd argue about is who's first.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I guess what I wanted to get at, let's maybe say, like, this is where we hit sort of a danger zone in the film. So,
Yeah.
given that we've already said that basically it got dragged out, it was just sort of repeating the same thing over and over again, and it was getting very hysterical about it. Sort of kind of an exhausting, we don't have the budget, so you just kind of have to scream in a corridor and wave a gun around, which feels very amateur, you know? How would you have liked this one to end?
I don't know. That's the thing about this film. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if the demon octopus, you know, got its just desserts and was put down. But at the same time, I think it would have been interesting if they. It's weird, like whether maybe they all swapped, like they all swapped bodies at one point, and then the demon octopus person gets killed. Let's say, for example, he's in Heather Graham's body, Heather Graham's in Barbara's body, and Barbara's in the mangled corpse thing. No, actually, he could be in this. She could have been in the security guard, and the security guard would have been in the in the corpse thing. Like, it's just all gone wrong, and they're like, right, okay, just, you know, let's end it before it gets too bad. And then and then maybe they can't hack their new lives, and you know, like 3 months down the line, like, you know, they do like a joint pact or something. I genuinely don't know. I couldn't tell you how I'd want it to end. But it would have to be something. It couldn't be one of those everything. It couldn't be one of those situations where everything resolves itself. It has to be messed up at the end. I don't think it did that. It has to be a messed up situation. Sure, get rid of the bad guy, but there has to be, you know, lasting repercussions of it. You know, maybe the two best friends, their body swap, and but it didn't satisfy what perhaps my expectations. It could have gone a different route, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, one of them being locked up, the other being sort of one of them is locked up in asylum. The other one is basically, you know, dies when you're transferred into that messed up body. A little bit of a doubt. I don't know. I would have. I'm fine with basically where everyone ended. I just didn't like how stretched out it was. I could have just done with it all being done by implication, or the kind of idea that Daniela Upton knows, but it's a question of she knows something's going on. She knows she needs to kill this weird interloper. Can she bring herself to do it? You know, she's got her locked away, gagged, whatever, to prevent her speaking. Is that enough? How long can she keep it? The idea that maybe those orderlies are possibly the weak link, something like that, just to end on a bit of a paranoia. But just, I think what I'm trying to get at is it was just that delivery, that last 10 minutes, it was just too much and just repeating the same beats.
Yeah.
Whereas the wonderful ending of sort of smashing the kid to pieces with the car had real finale energy, and just after that I basically wanted the film to end as quick as possible.
I think so. Yeah, that could have worked. Yeah, it's a really odd one. I think, definitely repeating the same beats, because towards the end there was so much, like, it was, the body swapping was a bit ridiculous at that point. There
the thing's
kind
been played out, you know, especially when they don't have like a cool effect for it. It is just, you know, acted out. It's just a sort of physical motion. So you
yeah,
get a bit
exactly.
bored if you're seeing it so many times in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and also it I feel like it kind of dampens the threat of it, because this whole thing about, you know, he's got to do it 3 times to, for it to take effect. That's fine, but it kind of implies that he's just got to do the enchantment 3 times. Doesn't matter. He doesn't have to jump back into his original body to then do the enchantment again, because he is flitting between. He's flitting between them whilst he's still sort of like in that transferred stage.
Mm.
And it just kind of made it kind of made me think, like, you know, if you really wanted to be in Elizabeth Darby's body that badly, why wouldn't you just do the incantation 3 times, like there and then?
Yeah, it's like, is there
Boom. There you
a
go.
pause? It's like,
But that's
do
the thing.
you have to
Yeah.
let it cool down? Is there an
Yeah.
effect cool down? I don't know.
But I don't think there is. I don't think there is, because, as I say, you see Asa transfer like towards the end of this film. He is transferring quite frequently, and, you know, he's, because I was trying to work it out, like, whether it was possible for him to be able to do the swap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So it would have worked if he just incantation, jump, back, incantation, jump. So he's done it 3 times. Boom. There you go. You've transferred. Unless it's 3 physical transformations, in which case, like, he'd have to jump in the body 3 times, because technically that's only twice. But even then, like, you just have to wait a little bit. I don't know. It's weird. The rules of this power kind of threw me off a little bit towards the end. It seemed like it was all quite nicely wrapped and concise, and the rules were clear during the during the main bulk of the film. And then, yeah, it kind of sort of threw that all up in the air towards the end.
Yeah, you find yourself wondering about this when it gets dragged out so much. John Graham, this is the film where the women are having a fight in the cell, and she tries to like smash her head against the side, and then says, "Yes, damn, padded cells."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
another lovely touch. I'd forgotten that, actually.
I forgot that line. Yeah,
that was a nice one. Thank you, John, for reminding us of it. That was good. Am I misremembering TCG, or did we say way back when we were going to do this 2 weeks ago and StreamYard imploded?
And my microphone. Don't. Yeah, and my microphone. It was a joint effort that stream not happening.
Did you say you were reminded of like the end of Feed? That glorious Feed?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It kind of, in that it was very stretched out, and it was just,
We need 10 minutes. Have people scream at each other. Have 3 people scream at each other in one location.
Quite literally.
You can, honestly, you can see it. Like, they're given, you sign up to make a movie and you're given kind of a constraint. Like, so David Lynch would often, when he signed up to do something, he would be given like, this has to be in at this time. So Dino De Laurentiis told him that Dune had to be 2 hours 17. That's the maximum, because that means you can do 4 showings a day, basically. That was the idea. Any over that in the theaters can only do 3 showings, which massively cuts down your potential profit. So you get told a runtime. Like, it can't be shorter than this. It's got to be that. So films will end up producing quite a lot. You know, they'll give themselves flexi, whereas if they need to, say, add or remove 30 seconds, they can just cut and exchange. You know, like Game of Thrones in season 1 did this. They were massively short on their runtime, so they had to write a whole bunch of like 2-person scenes, just a load of 2-handers, so that filled up the runtime for various episodes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's how they'll do it, and I think this is the equivalent of that. Is if you need to make your runtime, have 3 people sort of scream at each other and threaten each other. That'll get you a few extra minutes. Anyway, common problem when you're low on money is this sort of scene here.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's about all I had on it. I feel like it comes off that I've been quite negative, but I'm only negative towards this ending.
Yeah. No,
Otherwise, I
me
had a
too,
really good time with it.
Yeah, I was enjoying it. Like I say, I was enjoying it. And like I say, it wasn't scary. Like, it's not a scary film. But one thing it does do, one thing it did for me was it did kind of put me in this sort of, I almost put myself, it's weird, it's funny, but it kind of put myself in her shoes. Like the idea of somebody taking your body and essentially using it for things that you wouldn't necessarily do. That sort of threat level, that sort of fear, I say it's more of a psychological. I think it's more of psychological in that. If you sit and watch this film, and it makes you think about what you would do in that situation, I think the film's doing its job well, and I think it did it well. Yeah, it's just the ending really that was a bit of a letdown, but I didn't have any qualms with the film as a whole. I thought it was quite good, you know. Yeah. If you only got a $2 million budget, I mean, there's only so much you can do with that.
Very pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
and I would say a really nice thing about it. It has a good vibe. You can tell people enjoyed themselves making this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, it shines through, doesn't it?
Well, what did you think of Husband Eddie? I'm sorry, I know we're getting towards a wrap up.
Yeah,
Husband Eddie, when he's like, hang on, you've been shagging a 17-year-old. And she's like, yeah, but I could shtup you too. And he's like, you know what? Fair point. I'm over it. Do you think that would work?
No. Believe it or not, we aren't that fickle.
I did think that was poor Eddie being done a bit dirty there.
I mean, big time. I mean, they technically both shagged the same person. But then again, does that lean into, because with
Eddie didn't even say no homo.
Well, exactly, he didn't. But Elizabeth Darby was clearly under some sort of hypnotic trance or something like that. Then there was clearly something supernatural going on. You could argue the same was happening with Eddie in that moment. I think that was probably what was happening there.
Could be. Well, yeah, the demon does manage to have that effect on people. He does manage to really, you get the feeling like it is overcoming their willpower.
Phrasing.
Dear. Yeah, the idea of like what you do if you're sort of trapped in your body. My brain is going a bit blank, but I know there's quite a few horrors that have touched on that in a really interesting way. And like in this one, the main horror is basically paranoia over identity, who's where, some loss of control. But there are other horrors which have made a lot more focus on just what you said about losing control of your body while others do stuff with it. Fallen comes to mind, a film we've probably mentioned a few times at the channel. Not very well loved, not very well seen, but a really great little watch, that. And my brain is going blank, but I know there are others that have looked at that idea and have played it very straight.
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday? Maybe. If you mean the freaky, I couldn't get through that. Oh, I hated that film. Anyway,
no,
sorry,
I mean, Freaky
the original,
Friday,
the Lindsay Lohan classic.
You got the Lindsay Lohan one, yeah.
I haven't seen either, I'm afraid. Yeah.
They're making a new one. They're doing another one, aren't they? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, who's in that?
It's I'm pretty sure it's Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee. Is it? Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, they're both back in it.
What? Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's coming out 8th of August. I think. I'm pretty sure. I think it's called Freakier Friday. But yeah, Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee
So
Curtis.
it's actually just like a sequel, or
yeah, Chad Michael Murray. Jesus Christ, that is a name I've not heard in a while.
Oh, name I've not heard in a long time.
Long time.
Goodness me! Wow, it. Oh, okay. So I've just looked, and that is what I expected. They've got a granddaughter.
Oh, right.
There we go. It's next generation.
There you go. There you go.
All right. The last thing I expected.
Only took me 22 years.
I expected. Goodness me. Goodness me.
Will they do it better than Suitable Flesh? August 8th. Find out, ladies and gentlemen.
Find out. John Graham asking, has anyone read Kier Lejeunesse, House of Psychotic Women? It's really worth checking out. Got as an audiobook with Charles Sub, and it's tremendous. She really gets into films like Possession. I have not, but that sounds intriguing. I will say I recently purchased the book I just mentioned earlier, Stephen Schneider's The Horror Film and Psychoanalysis, something like that. I forget the title, but that's rather fascinating. That's been a very good read for a bit of insight if you like your Freudian approaches to horror. Anyway, that's basically all I had to say on Suitable Flesh. Like, good fun, great camera work. The bit where she's stooping Eddie and then the camera starts swirling around, I thought was a delight. Made me feel a bit sick, but I really enjoyed it. There's just lots of creative shots in this film.
Agreed.
So good times. I mean, shall we just do sort of closing thoughts and scores now? I mean, I really
I think so. Yeah, there's
closing thoughts there. Creative camera work, good vibe, clearly made by people who love Lovecraft. It's a clever modernization that adds some really interesting elements and just has stuff that's just kind of creative in a horror film itself, like the aforementioned way of showing someone smashed up by the car hitting them by the rear view camera. That was just lovely. That was really good. Also, it's just blooming lovely to see Barbara Crampton as a bit of a cult heroine of Lovecraftian horror. It's fantastic that she was in it. The cast are all strong. Great performances, particularly from Graham, and I'll have to get the guy's name because it didn't stick in my head, but Judah Lewis is the guy playing Asa. And oh my gosh, he was the kid in The Babysitter. I feel very old now. Oh dear. Babysitter from 2017, amazing film. You would love it, TCG. You would have a very good time with that one.
Oh, right. Oh, would I now?
Yeah. Really good fun. It's good laughs. Very good horror, good laughs. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that movie if you watch it. Sorry, and to add a score to it.
I'll watch it.
I'm kind of torn, but I feel this is quite a strong one. In terms of, it's just, okay, is it super deep? No. Is it entirely faithful to the novel? No, there's a bit of gender swapping, but if it means we get Barbara Crampton in, I'm cool with it. I had a really good time with this. I would happily watch it again. Slightly marred by the ending. I come out at about 9 burgers for this. 9 burgers, the appropriate amount of cheese, heck of a lot more pickle than expected, and some well done baps.
Only one bat.
How about yourself, TCG?
Yeah, I agree. Nine burgers, nine strong burgers. I will add. Yeah, to be honest, I can't really add much to what you've already mentioned. Like some really good camera shots. You could tell that the actors and actresses working on it enjoyed themselves. I wasn't familiar with the original Lovecraft work, so I didn't have that frame of reference to compare it against. But I think the idea of the whole body swapping thing, we've seen it before. It's quite cool when they do it in horror. I think if it's executed well, and the kind of the gender swapping aspect of it as well, I think adds an extra dimension to it. Because again, like it's because you really are. I mean, it makes you couldn't be further from yourself at that point, and I think it would drive anyone mad in all seriousness. So I think it was quite cool. The ending was let it down big time, and that's where it drops most of its marks, I have to say. Not even necessarily because the outcome wasn't the desirable one, let's say, but it's just the execution where it was so consistently good throughout the first sort of 75-80 minutes of the film. It just kind of derailed at that point. Practical effects, special effects, they definitely got their money's worth with the small budget. Some major props. This is what I genuinely thought it was. I genuinely thought it was like double digits, like a 10, 12 million or something like that budget. I was very surprised when you said only 2. So yeah, no, good film. Definitely would recommend. But end it at the point where she's reversing into him repeatedly. You can turn it off at that point. It's fine if you want that outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, a 9 sounds very fair. Patrick Batman has also gone for a 9 burgers, but can't tell if it's from a cow or a bull. I would suggest, Patrick, it might be pork. I think there was a lot of pork in this film, if you get me. I'll also note as a side thing. Now, I usually like to pull out a bit of research for this, but this is very modern, so obviously it's not in any of my books. But I was looking at one particular volume that might be helpful, and that's The Lurker in the Lobby, which is a review of Lovecraft cinema. Unfortunately, the latest edition of that is 2006. So almost everything we've reviewed is, or rather a considerable amount of what we reviewed is, long past that. So just say that for the people who wrote Lurker in the Lobby, probably long overdue an update. There's quite a lot happened since then. So, or maybe we need an updated version. Maybe.
I'm just saying, if we could get a Freakier Friday.
Indeed. Gosh. Well, folks. Oh, a lower rating from John Graham. 7 burgers. Well, I know John likes some sort of more. You like something a bit more. How can I say? Symbolic. You like to get stuck in something meatier in the symbol department. So I don't blame you. But see, 7 is definitely in the enjoyed it side of things. So good on you. Yeah, you can find this quite easily. Prime, Shudder, YouTube is easy to get this, so highly recommend it. Daniel Hawes also joined us at 9. I think it's a fair rating. It's far better than I expected to, and really, this does show you what you can do with a small budget. I mean, just crikey, all these films. God, was it Snow White hoovering up about 400 million to make? Like, could we maybe
Absolute
just
criminal.
Why studios? Why are you doing this? Why are you making absolute gash for 400-500 million? Like, literally, just these guys. Joe Lynch is showing you what you can do. Can we just give Joe Lynch 10 million and see what he does with that? Give Joe Lynch 10 million. Let's give Richard Stanley 40 and see what he can do, because that guy was very hard done by. And I think we'd probably have a lot more high quality Lovecraft cinema. Anyway, that's my little spiel done. Great little find, this fantastic recommendation, Patrick. I'm glad you liked it. And folks, I've got a treat for you because I really want to get these member request streams done. I am going to be doing a bonus stream for you on Saturday. So Saturday we'll be doing the other Lovecraft request we had. So good friend of the channel and frequent guest actually, Yiz, requested we do the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society's adaptation of The Whisper in Darkness. We will be covering that. You should be able to find that quite easily for free, but do track that down. That is the H.P. Lovecraft Society's version of The Whisper in Darkness. I believe it's from about 2015. Track that down. It's not long. And I'll balance that out if I can by comparing it to the BBC's, they renamed it. It was Mystery Machine. Now I think it might just be called Lovecraft Mysteries. But the people who did the absolutely astoundingly good modernized adaptation in podcast form of The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. We talked about that in one of our first Lovecraft arcs, and we loved it. Well, in their second season, they did an adaptation of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm not going to say that's as good as Charles Dexter Ward, but we'll do a little comparison. So Saturday, 8 p.m, bonus stream. Be there for a little bit of extra Lovecraft before we get into our 28 days, weeks, years later cycle in July. Let's see. A quick question from In These Goings Down. Would I ever consider doing a low-budget horror film? I have had a couple of ideas for scripts. I'd be intrigued. I'd like to write one. I had a couple of anthology ideas that I was rather passionate about. But I don't know if I'd actually be good. You know, that's a test, isn't it? It's easy to be a critic. I would like the challenge, let's put it that way. But it's not something I ever looked at very seriously beyond drafting some ideas. With that done, folks, thank you for joining us. You've got news of your bonus stream. All going well, we'll be starting the 28X later arc in July, so you know what we're kicking off July with. So yeah, that is your horror homework. You've had your stream on Suitable Flesh 2023. How gay would it be? How gay would my script be? Come on, Patrick. You know, I've got funding to secure and cliches to.
It would be one big gay reading.
How much would Josh Hartnett agree to do? That's what we need to ask. You know.
That'd be an interesting cut. I'd be intrigued by your casting choices. Obviously, Josh Hartnett straight in there. Too late for Tony Todd, I'm afraid. But I'm trying to think who you'd cast in movies. What about your final girl? Who would be your final girl?
I'm trying to remember her name, but God. What's her name? Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think, is very underrated.
Okay.
I like her. You'll know as Ramona Flowers, but she was also great in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
She was really good in Vivarium.
Right.
I think she's a fantastic little... No, actually, I scrap that. No, Patrick Batman's right. It's
yeah, 100%. 100%. It is absolutely... Hold on.
Who was the really cute one in Glee? She was a redhead teacher. She had like OCD or something. Was it Jayma Mays?
Maybe. I'm terrible. I'm just as terrible with names, to tell you the truth.
Dear. Oh no, we're Hendrix posting again. All right. Well, folks, before we go filthier than it's the influence of this film, I tell you. This was such a good family-friendly stream some back in the day. Ooh, Lena Quigley.
If we were back in the 80s.
Why not? What a callback. Oh, brilliant. Well, okay. You know what? There's one other thing I should say before we go off. A quick extra mention. If you have not seen it, since this is Joe Lynch directing this film, I did look back at his back catalogue, and one thing he has got is, where is it? Ah, gosh darn it. Where is it? There we go. He made an appearance in His Name Was Jason, 30 Years of Friday the 13th, back in 2009. And what a handy link to discussing Friday the 13th. TCG and I was it last Friday? Was it 2 Fridays ago?
Two Fridays ago.
I've been on holiday. I don't know. Basically, TCG and I sat down on a Friday and we did a live commentary for Friday the 13th, part 4, the final chapter. You can watch that. That was great fun. If you haven't caught it, get yourself a copy of the film, pop that on and with the subtitles on, and just let TCG and I do a fantastic fun commentary for you. That'll be a hoot. So if you haven't seen that, give that a go. That was a good laugh.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, worked out well. All right. Well, an efficient stream tonight. Well, many a tangent, but still under 2 hours, so we're very efficient. You have had your review of Suitable Flesh. You have got your horror homework for Saturday and for next week. And you've had a reminder to watch the Friday the 13th part 4 commentary. Support the channel with super chats, especially with memberships. Enjoy the exclusive content. Subscribe to TCG if you are not subscribed already, because he's got new videos coming out. And I think that's everything. So TCG, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. As always, an absolute pleasure. And you did forget one thing. Give Horrorshow your money. Empty your pockets right now. She needs to feed the chickens. If the chickens starve, it's your fault, chat. You are responsible. Give her all your shekels.
I am unironically skinned after the holiday. Oh, so I went to Scarborough. Guess what they're asking for a pint down there?
Bag of crack.
$6.50.
Shut up. No way.
I know, it's London price. In London, would be embarrassed to ask you. And I'm not talking like a special. I'm talking like it was like a pint of Madry.
Bag of crack would be cheaper.
$6.50. Shocking.
That is bad. That is bad. Yeah. Mind you, though, I rarely go to pubs these days. I'm just trying to think, because I did. Yeah, the last time I went, I had a beer out. It was about a $5. That's bad.
That's very bad. I know.
Yeah, Starver, what you doing? Sort it out.
No beer here.
Well, no beer here. Well, he's not allowed in any of the pubs, is he? I'll never forget that.
Of course, yeah, kicked out.
It's not welcome in my pub. Get him out.
Oh, classic. All right, folks. Well, you've been great. Thank you for attending. Thank you for keeping it fun, folks. Just checking. Yeah, good. Thank you for new members and super chats. Yeah, I will leave you that. I hope you got a lovely Friday ahead of you, and I will see you on Saturday. Take care, folks. All the best.
All the best.
Cheers.
#ShowGang.